Loft 100 Studios, the Big Biz Show, and our affiliates and our hosts are not registered investment advisors or broker-dealers.
Our show hosts make no commitment that the purchase of securities of companies profiled or otherwise mentioned in our programming
are suitable or advisable for any person, or that an investment in such securities will be profitable in general.
Given the nature of the company's profile and the lack of an active trading market for the securities, investing is highly speculative and carries a certain high degree of risk.
We profile selected publicly traded and privately held companies on our program.
Most of these companies that we profile have provided compensation to Loft 100 Studios and its hosts for the profile coverage.
From time to time, we sell shares of the companies profiled in the open market that we receive as compensation for coverage of client companies.
But never sell stocks if we are speaking about interviewing or covering a public company who has paid compensation.
Specific questions on compensation can be obtained by contacting producer at sullyandgroup.com.
Listeners should verify all claims and do their own due diligence before investing in any securities mentioned on this program.
Investing in securities is speculative and carries a high degree of risk.
We encourage our investors to invest carefully and read the investor information available at the websites on the
Securities and Exchange Commission at sec.gov and or the Financial Industry Regulatory Authority, FINRA, at www.finra.org.
I like it.
It's Space Day. It's a Big Biz Show. Our good buddy John Rood with Momentus Inc. in studio with us today. MNTS, their stock symbol, Space Transportation and Infrastructure Services. You can go to momentus.space. Of course, the DCT. Nice job. Great to have you in the studio, man.
It's good to be here.
We can do this more often with you.
Okay.
We're doing literally an entire show with you here. I want to talk about what you talked about a long time ago, and that's backbone infrastructure in space. Now, that's just ridiculous. Everybody's shaking their head.
Right.
What does that mean exactly?
It means connecting the Earth. It means connecting operations in space. It means facilitating the creation of the kind of infrastructure we already have on Earth. So, for example, you're seeing now space-based applications compete very effectively both in quality of service and cost with things done on Earth. So, you know, as an example, your TV show, other things, get broadcast in cell towers.
Sure.
You have communication over wires, usually buried under the ground. But actually, you know, the ability to do that from space, to provide your internet connectivity if you're in Montana or you're in Ukraine or where have you, that's being done cost effectively with better quality of service from space. And you're going to see a whole bunch of other applications that need this infrastructure and need transportation, because you're also seeing private space stations start.
Sure.
And you're seeing things start to be manufactured in space.
So let's talk about that, because getting granular on your services, you're basically delivering packages, satellites, so to speak, into space for other companies. And you're talking about these, I keep reading about these private space stations. That just quadruples your business. I mean, it makes it completely different, because now you're not only a delivery service, but you're an augmented support service for some of those businesses, correct?
That's right. You're going to need logistics support. You're going to need delivery. So we make a satellite that delivers other satellites. We transport them to precise custom orbits. We're going to have the ability to reposition satellites. So when you have this network of several hundred satellites around the Earth, if you have one go out, think of your cell tower going out. If it's in an inconvenient location, the ability to move another one in there, or to come and custom deploy a new satellite, or some of our customers are things like Internet of Things connectivity companies. They need to put up 1,000 small satellites around the Earth. And to do that cost effectively, you use a delivery vehicle. We're kind of like the UPS of space.
Sure.
You used the word competition a second ago.
NASA.
Well, I was going to say, is your
U.S. Air Force.
Okay. SpaceX. Is your main competition, if it's there, United States, or is it our friends in China? Is it our friends in Russia? Is it
yes to all
that type of thing?
We have international competitors, some in Europe, for example, like in Germany or in Italy. But we also have American companies trying to do this, either the same thing we are, or people who are satellite makers finding another way to space by booking portions of a rocket to deliver their satellite. And so we have to compete with all of those for the transportation services. But then we do something else where we host payloads, meaning we give them power, we give them communications, we orient them right. And there's a smaller number of companies that can compete for that, that we also compete with. You know, for instance, we have one right now from Caltech that's showing the ability to collect solar energy in space and beam it to Pasadena, California. To the roof of Caltech is where they collect some of the energy. It's a demonstration, but we provide the hosted payload support to that. We point them correctly, we orient them correctly, we provide the communications and the data back and forth, and the power and all the other support. So that's what a hosted payload is. And there's more of these kinds of applications. And then there's pure satellites that we use our carrier vehicle to also just be a satellite chassis that we're bidding to commercial customers and others.
Okay, so that's a plane wrap sort of situation where we're using your design. How big are these things? Volkswagen, breadbox, Apple computer?
About 4 feet by 4 feet is about our vehicle, you know. And
Mike's lunchbox.
That's right, for the picnic. He might let us have some.
There.
And the other question is this: when you talk about these technologies, we're not talking about, you know, engineers at the Metro Transit District. You're talking about rocket scientists, JPL, Jet Propulsion Laboratories, NASA. Talk about the people, the brains behind your because I don't think we've ever talked about that.
We've recruited some people that have spent their careers in space or in related technology areas, plus a whole crop of really young, energetic people that are out. They want to change the world. They want to change how we operate in space and power a new space economy. And so, you know, we've got this interesting hybrid mix of guys with, you know, battle scars up and down their backs from space programs. And all those hard lessons learned. We had about 200 years of accumulated expertise in our leadership team. But then we've got these young, fresh engineers who challenge all of those established parts. And that unique culture really helps. So, you know, we're seeing the benefit of that because we were able to go much faster than a lot of our peers in the industry.
Real quickly, talk about this new thing called the space economy. What are all the verticals involved in this? Obviously, you're one vertical. What else exists there between infrastructure and what you guys are operating?
Well, it's a large economy. The Space Foundation just put out a report. They estimate last year was $586 billion, and globally. And what the space economy does is, you know, for communications, whether it's TV, radio, how you're communicating on your cell phones, all that's enabled from space. All the position, navigation, timing, that comes from space. And increasingly, you're seeing commercial companies getting that. So when you talk about autonomous driving cars and things like that, they're going to need to be more accurate
LiDAR and such?
than what you get. And so, you know, for instance, there's a commercial company that wants to provide 1 centimeter accuracy from space to aid autonomous driving cars. You have farming being done increasingly in autonomous ways, or tracking where things are. Your Amazon package that you know exactly where it's at, well, that data all got sent through space. And you could go on and on, taking pictures of the Earth, monitoring not just what's going on in Ukraine in a war, but what's going on in the weather, what's going on in terms of climate change, all those kinds of things being enabled from space. And again, increasingly competing with Earth-based applications to understand and to operate the global economy.
All right, John, when we come back,
It's just fascinating.
I'm going to tell you a couple things.
It is fascinating.
I'm going to talk about mission control.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Okay. I want to talk about where you're headed next, as far as what your next vertical is in terms of clients, and maybe some of the existing clients that you can talk about, and maybe sometimes that you can't, at least industries and stuff like that. His name is John Rood. He is the CEO of Momentus Inc. MNTS. Of course, Momentus.space. More Big Biz coming up. Stand by.